If we were allowed to make a wish right now, just one, a unique opportunity to obtain what we desire, most likely all of us would ask to lead a satisfying life, that is, to enjoy a happy life, free from obstacles and anxieties, in which we can realize our potential and constantly experience happiness. The good news of this day is that we don't need spells to live a happy life, it's enough to reorient our lives following some specific guidelines. In this video, we will explore the 10 rules to follow every day to rediscover lost happiness. Usage of this content. The suggestions provided in this video don't have to be followed word for word. Each of us should adapt the 10 rules to our own life situation. However, it's advisable to commit to applying all of them, as it's the combination of these 10 factors that creates favorable conditions for a good quality of life. Not all the ideas presented here are original. Some of the actions I will describe, which I personally try to practice every day to improve my daily life, have been suggested in the past. However, I noticed the lack of a single document that summarizes them all, explaining their importance and the effects they have on our existence. Priority to sleep. The first habit to cultivate is to sleep at least 8 hours every night. I know it sounds like common advice, but our days will be significantly more enjoyable if we are well rested. The challenge we all face, however, is finding a way to actually do it, as we often spend evenings browsing the internet or watching television, ending up going to bed very late and getting too little rest. The most effective method is to set ourselves a bedtime, beyond which we strive not to go, regardless of what happens. Personally, I've set myself an evening alarm and a morning alarm, which remind me when to go to bed and when to wake up. The gap is naturally 8 hours, and when I manage to adhere to this rule, I always feel fresh and full of energy. Whatever task awaits us, we can handle it better tomorrow morning after having rested. It's much more productive to use the morning hours compared to the evening ones, as they prove to be infinitely more productive. This consistent time schedule divides the day into blocks, greatly simplifying activity organization. When I know I have 2 free hours between the dinner block, ending at 8 p.m., and the next block, going to bed, starting at 10 p.m., I am assured of having a 2-hour interval each day to engage in new activities. It's not that these 2 hours didn't exist before, but the organized routine we've created allows us to avoid unforeseen events, delays, and tiredness that often prevent us from finding time for things we'd like to do. Stabilizing our routine guarantees those 2 hours of free time and allows us to plan ahead what we intend to do, with the certainty that that time will always be available. These 2 hours are the direct result of the methodical approach we've established in our daily lives, bypassing the obstacles that often hinder us from dedicating ourselves to what we desire. Seeking moments of calm. Every instant of our day is filled with noises and information. If we pay attention, we'll notice that there isn't a single minute when we can enjoy complete silence. Our mind is constantly distracted by external inputs, which hampers mental clarity. Surely, we all have experienced moments of serenity during a walk in nature, but this state isn't tied solely to being in a forest or on a mountain top. It's the silence that creates the conditions for mental relaxation. To enhance the quality of life, it's important to dedicate as much time as possible to quiet places. Silence can be found easily in natural environments, but also by rising early in the morning when the city is still asleep. These hours are precious and can be worth almost as much as the rest of the day. Practice self-analysis. Self-analysis fosters constant improvement in our lives. This process involves analyzing the situation we're in and understanding its causes. The life we're living at this moment is largely influenced by choices made over time and attitudes adopted towards others. Our financial situation, the friendships we cultivate, the affection of the people around us, they're the result of past actions and interactions. If we can understand why we feel dissatisfied, we can correct misguided attitudes and avoid repeating the same mistakes that led us to unhappiness. This way, the actions we take today will contribute to our future well-being. Practicing constant self-analysis means just that. Developing the ability to question ourselves and challenge our beliefs through practice and intelligence. Initiate a new project. Without a clear goal, happiness is hard to achieve. Depression, a state of deep dissatisfaction, often arises alongside a lack of stimuli and purpose. No one feels unmotivated or unhappy when engaged in pursuing a dream. From this point onward, let's seek something we want to accomplish and commit to taking small steps toward it daily. The key isn't that the goal is grand or ambitious. Especially for those struggling to find inspiration, it's crucial to start with something simple. Finishing a book, creating a drawing, writing a short story, taking a 2-kilometer walk, or saving €100 in a month can be starting points. What matters is defining a goal, even if it seems insignificant, because it will help us regain confidence in ourselves. Once the first step is complete, the next goal can be more ambitious, and we'll approach it with greater confidence because we'll have increased our self-esteem. Happiness requires an ongoing journey in search of new achievements. The power of silence. In life, there are moments when everyone should learn to be silent, especially when we realize that conversations with the people we associate with are taking an unpleasant turn. Fighting with others, trying to be right or verbally prevailing often leads nowhere. Even if we were to win and completely overpower the other, we'd ultimately emerge defeated because we'd have damaged relationships with the people around us. This directly contradicts the path to a fulfilling life, as well-being stems from harmonious relationships with others. Instead of engaging in conflict or making others uncomfortable, let's learn to remain silent or change the subject. This concept applies to strangers as well, especially in a world where we often engage in controversies on social media, sometimes with people we don't know or haven't had contact with for years. Even if we were right, these actions only lead to conflicts, tensions, resentments, and ultimately represent a waste of time that could be devoted to our projects and real life. Cultivate sincerity. In a world where artifice is ubiquitous and pretense is widely accepted as an integral part of society, being authentically sincere, being oneself, allows us to live contentedly, free from needless worries. Pretense is a part of our reality, whether we like it or not. Even small details like putting on makeup, wearing a bra, dyeing hair, or concealing baldness with a cap, trying to dress like celebrities, represent small deceptions we use to appear better than we truly are. Of course, I'm not suggesting that we should all walk around cost-free. However, whatever kind of physical activity piques our interest, what matters is the intensity of the physical effort. This effort allows us to divert our minds from thoughts and worries, enabling us to focus on the present moment. This therapeutic effect of physical activity is similar to what's achieved through meditation, but exercise also has positive impacts on health. Therefore, for overall well-being, it's crucial that physical activity becomes an integral part of our lives. Simplicity and reduced needs. Less is more. This statement might suffice, but a more detailed explanation is appropriate. The more possessions we have, the more complexity we introduce into our lives. A small house requires fewer construction costs, less debt, and less maintenance. A huge villa, on the other hand, demands significant expenses, service personnel, and all of this entails both time and money. The excessive accumulation of possessions can make us slaves to what we have, obligating us to engage in activities, like work, that we'd prefer to avoid, just to maintain everything we possess. This state, based on the philosophy of owning to appear important and to feel secure, doesn't represent true happiness. Living well means being free to pursue what we desire every day, change our minds, move around, and not be bound by artificial rules and needs. To attain happiness, let's aim to possess what is essential and free ourselves from what isn't truly necessary. Conclusions. These 10 rules for a fulfilling life are principles I've been striving to apply for several years. I can confidently say that the results are remarkable. Days flow peacefully, without significant worries or conflicts. I feel physically energized, and my mind is fertile with new ideas that I'm able to execute decisively and confidently. These suggestions aren't just the usual platitudes of personal growth, they're the pillars of a genuinely happy life. Just commit to trying them, even for a short period, and experience how everything gradually improves and how the serenity we thought was distant becomes accessible. The key is to believe in them.